Welcome back to What We Are. The first month of the year has already slipped by, and I've been meaning to ask, how has life been treating you lately? Ever felt like you're running a race with no finish line? Like you're constantly trying to become someone, successful, respected, finally having it all figured out? We carry this weight of identity as if it were absolute truth, but perhaps, just perhaps, that exhaustion is simply a misunderstanding within. I hope that by the end of this video, we can clear that up together, so you can start living a life of joyful experiencing rather than constant achieving. But first, before we look at the labels we've built for ourselves, let's look at a man who shattered every label the world tried to give him. In the early 1980s, the American media was obsessed with one man. He didn't lead a political party, and he didn't run a global corporation. Yet, he owned 93 Rolls-Royces. His followers built a city out of the Oregon desert, and the US government eventually labeled him the most dangerous man in the country. His name was Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh, later known as Osho. But if you asked Osho why he was dangerous, he wouldn't point to his wealth or his commune. He would point to his laughter. He often told a story about the day he attained enlightenment. He didn't find it through agonizing prayer or decades of suffering. He found it when he realized there was nothing to find. He sat under a tree and simply laughed. He laughed because he realized that for years he had been a man with glasses on his nose, frantically searching the entire house for his glasses. Today, we are peeling back the layers of this controversial figure to find something deeper than the scandals. We are moving beyond the guru to explore the cosmic joke, the possibility that our greatest struggles are born from a simple, collective misunderstanding of who we are. To understand Osho's danger, we have to understand the world he was speaking to. He wasn't interested in making people better or more moral. He was interested in making them free. Following the thread of the rebel heart, we explored with Jesus. Osho took rebellion to its psychological extreme. He attacked everything the society held sacred: religion, marriage, politics, and even the family unit. Why? Because he saw these as labels, the very prisons we discussed in our last episode with James Baldwin. Osho argued that from the moment you are born, you are given a name, a religion, and a nationality. You are conditioned to believe that you are your achievements, your failures, and your social status. But what if all those things are just noise? He saw a society of people who were successful on the outside but hollow on the inside. He spoke to an American public that had everything but felt nothing. His danger wasn't that he was leading a cult. It was that he was telling people to stop listening to every authority, including himself, and start listening to the silence within. Because perhaps the only reason we feel lost is that we have been taught to follow a map that doesn't actually exist. Now, let's look at the core of the drama: the ego. We often think of the ego as arrogance or pride, but Osho described it as something much more subtle. The ego is the I that you think you are. It's the narrator in your head that never stops talking. It's the one who says, "I am a successful professional," or "I am a victim of my past." In our modern digital world, this ego has become hyperinflated. We spend our lives building a digital identity, curating our best moments, and defending our opinions as if they were our very souls. But here is where the cosmic joke begins. Osho suggested that the ego is like a shadow. It exists, but it has no substance. It is a social convenience, a handle for the world to grab onto you. The problem arises when we forget it's just a handle and start believing it's the whole cup. Perhaps the reason we feel so much pressure and anxiety today isn't because the world is too hard. Perhaps it is because we are trying to protect a self that doesn't actually exist. We are like a wave in the ocean that is terrified of dying, not realizing that it was always just the ocean in motion. When you realize that the wave and the ocean are one, the fear of disappearing vanishes. You don't lose yourself. You finally find the reality that was hidden beneath the label. But why do we cling so tightly to this wave, even when it's crashing? In our current era, we've outsourced our sense of self to the digital feedback loop. We don't just have an ego anymore. We have a brand. Every like, every share, and every comment acts as a brick in the wall of this imaginary I. We've become architects of a virtual monument to ourselves, and we are terrified that if we stop posting, stop performing, or stop being relevant, the monument will crumble, and we will vanish with it. Think about the modern anxiety of being left behind. We feel we must have a take on every political event, a filter for every photo, and a vibe for every room. We are exhausted not because life is demanding, but because maintaining the character is a full-time job with no weekends off. Osho's radical insight was that this effort is the source of all our misery. Imagine a person who has spent their entire life holding up a heavy umbrella, terrified that if they let go, the sky will fall. They are exhausted, their arms are shaking, and they've missed the beauty of the rain. The cosmic joke is that the sky was never being held up by you. It stays up by itself. Apply this to your own social circles. Think about the last time you felt offended. Was it you that was hurt, or was it the image you've built of yourself? When someone attacks your opinion, your job title, or your status, they are only hitting the shadow. They can't touch the light that is casting it. The moment you stop defending the shadow, you inherit the light. This isn't about being passive or giving up on life. It's about efficiency. When you realize that the successful professional or the righteous activist is just a role you play, you can play it with more grace, more humor, and far less stress. You move from being a slave to the script to being the actor who knows the play is just a play. Perhaps the ultimate freedom in 2026 isn't having more followers or more money. Perhaps it's the quiet power of being nobody in a world that is screaming for everyone to be somebody. When you are nobody, you are no longer a target for the world's judgment. You are the space in which the world happens. You aren't the wave trying to reach the shore. You are the ocean, already there, watching the waves rise and fall in a grand, beautiful, and utterly harmless dance. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood parts of Osho's vision, the idea that the universe has no final purpose. To many of us, this sounds terrifying. We are taught that we must have a purpose, a mission, a legacy. We want to believe that the universe is a giant machine moving toward a grand conclusion, and we are tiny cogs in that machine. But Osho, drawing from the ancient concept of Leela, suggested something different. Perhaps the universe isn't a machine. Perhaps it's a dance. A dance doesn't have a final destination. You don't dance to get to the other side of the room, you dance because the music is playing now. When we say life is meaningless, in this context, it isn't a negative statement. It doesn't mean life is empty. It means life is overfull. It is so complete in this very moment that it doesn't need a future goal to justify itself. Think about a flower. It doesn't bloom to achieve anything. It blooms because it is the nature of life to overflow. It is beautiful precisely because it doesn't have a busyness plan. We have been conditioned to see life as a series of tasks to be completed. We treat our relationships, our work, and even our spiritual growth as chores. But Osho invites us to look at it differently. Perhaps the cosmic joke is that we are so busy trying to get somewhere that we are missing the fact that we have already arrived. We are already at the center of the universe. We are already the energy of the stars manifesting in human form. But sometimes, this vastness often feels like nothingness to us. Why? Perhaps it's because we've forgotten how to just be without a reason. We've become a society that asks, "What is this for?" before we even experience what this is. We look at a sunset and ask how it will look on our feed. We meet a new person and ask how they can advance our career. We've turned the dance into a transaction. Think about the ocean. Have you ever stood on the shore and watched the waves crash against the rocks? Those waves aren't trying to reach the land to stay there. They don't have a quota of crashes to fill by sunset. They crash simply because the tide is too powerful to remain still. It is the sheer, overwhelming abundance of the ocean's energy that forces it to move, to spray, and to roar. The wave doesn't crash to achieve a result. It crashes because its internal vitality is so fierce that it has no other choice but to express itself. You are that wave. Perhaps the reason you feel a restlessness in your heart isn't because you haven't arrived yet. Perhaps it's because the life force within you is so intense, so overflowing, that it's looking for a way to dance. This realization shifts everything. If life is a Leela, a cosmic play, then your job isn't to fix the world or even to fix yourself. Your job is to witness the play with such intensity that the distinction between the actor and the role disappears. In a world obsessed with impact and legacy, there is something deeply rebellious about just being a witness. To listen to music not to analyze it, but to let it vibrate in your chest. To do your work not just for the paycheck, but because the energy of creation is moving through your hands. When you stop treating life as a problem to be solved, you finally see it as a mystery to be lived. You realize that you don't need a purpose to be sacred. You are sacred because you are the universe's way of looking at itself. You are the accidental miracle that was never an accident. So, the next time you feel the weight of not being enough, remember the ocean. It doesn't apologize for not reaching the city. It just continues its magnificent, purposeless dance. Perhaps the greatest truth Osho left us with is this: you don't have to find the truth. You just have to stop running long enough for the truth to catch up with you. This is where the whoa moment happens, the moment where we might just freeze for a second. Think about the incredible odds of your existence. To be a human being with eyes to see, a heart to feel, and a mind to contemplate the stars requires an infinite number of factors to align perfectly. It is, by all accounts, an accidental miracle. And yet, we spend our days worrying about our identity or our status. Because the universe has no final destination, it means that every moment is the destination. When you stop getting for the future, you can finally be present for the now. You can eat a meal, watch a sunset, or even experience a moment of sadness with total wholeness. You don't need to fix your life to be valid. You are valid because you are a part of the cosmic play. Perhaps we have understood it wrong all this time. We thought we had to earn our place in the universe, but the truth might be that we were invited here as guests to enjoy the party. The tragedy isn't that life has no meaning. The tragedy is that we are so serious about our labels that we forget to enjoy the play. And enjoying the party doesn't mean you just sit in the corner of the room. It means that whatever is served to you, you taste it with everything you are. Sometimes the universe serves you a quiet, humble moment, a morning coffee or a slow walk. But other times, it hands you a massive role. It puts you in a position of power, gives you a business to lead, or a project that could change the world. We often treat these big positions as heavy burdens or stressful responsibilities. But perhaps these aren't tests you have to pass, but the most vibrant courses of the meal. If you find yourself in a position of greatness, don't shrink away from it. Don't fear the weight of it. Play that role with every ounce of your passion. Be the most visionary leader or the most dedicated creator, not because you are trying to prove your worth, but because the universe is currently choosing to express its power through you. When you realize you are already sufficient and invited to this role, you stop carrying the responsibility and start flowing with it. So, if you're still asking, what is the true meaning of this life after all? Perhaps it is simply to enjoy everything life serves you, the joy, the sadness, the wins, and the losses. It's about playing your part to the absolute best of your ability, with everything you have. And when you feel tired, remember that you always have the choice to stop, whether that means letting go of a massive responsibility or finally stepping away from a lingering sorrow. Osho's commune in Oregon eventually collapsed under the weight of scandal and human ego. It serves as a stark reminder that even the most profound truths can be distorted when they are used to build new identities and power structures. But the truth he pointed to remains untouched by the drama. As you go back to your life today, back to the emails, the social media, and the pressure to be someone, remember the cosmic joke. Notice the moments when you are getting too hard. Notice the moments when you feel like a nobody and it feels like a threat. And in those moments, take a breath. Perhaps being nobody isn't a loss. Perhaps it is the ultimate freedom. It means you are no longer a character in a script. You are the awareness that is watching the play. You don't need to manage your identity. You just need to witness your presence. When you find that unmoving place inside, the one that isn't shaken by success or failure, you realize that you are already home. The universe isn't hiding anything from you. It has always been right here, waiting for you to stop searching and start seeing. So, take a lesson from the laughter of the most dangerous guru. Don't take your labels so seriously. They are just words. Don't take your ego so seriously. It's just a shadow. Start looking for the Leela in your day. See the dance in the traffic, the music in the noise, and the miracle in the ordinary. You are not a victim of a meaningless world. You are a conscious participant in a world that is so full of meaning that it needs no words to explain it. When you find the courage to let go of the identity you've been protecting, you find the reality that has been protecting you all along. This has been What We Are, a space for those who seek to see clearly, to think deeply, and to live with awareness. If this exploration of Osho and the cosmic joke helped you breathe a little easier today, share it with someone who is currently lost in the weight of their own mask. Like the video and subscribe to join us as we continue to reveal timeless truths through the voices of those who truly saw. Thank you for your attention. It is the force that reveals the world. And until next time, stay awake to the truth behind the joke.